Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, in this video we are going to discuss about quantitative research, paradigm, and design. This video will be delivered by two speakers. The first is Musyarif Amir, and then we'll continue by Ica Sulistianti. For economizing the time, let's begin this presentation. Hello, I'm Musyarif Amir. The key point of discussion, the first, research paradigm, positivism, post-positivism. Second, research design, experimental, quasi-experimental, and non-experimental. We start with research design. Positivism. The positivist paradigm is one of the main approaches in scientific research, especially in quantitative research. There are several characteristics from the positivism paradigm. First, objective reality. Positivism assumes that there is a reality that is independent of the subject who observes it. Second, empirical method. Researchers who use this paradigm tend to use empirical data that can be observed, measured, and verified. Third, quantitative approach. In positivism, quantitative research is the main approach. Fourth, researcher neutrality. Researcher must be neutral and not emotionally involved with research subject. Fifth, hypothesis testing. Positivism emphasizes the importance of testing hypotheses based on existing theory. Sixth, generalization. One of the goals of positivism research is to produce knowledge that can be generalized. Second, determinism. This paradigm assumes that social and natural phenomena have identifiable causes. Now, post-positivism. Post-positivism is a development of positivism which acknowledges that although a reality is subjective, researchers cannot be completely free from bias in the observation process. Therefore, post-positivism requires critical reflection on data and research results. Here are some of the main characteristics of the post-positivism paradigm. First, limited reality. Second, falsification, not verification. Third, critical approach to knowledge. Fourth, quantitative and qualitative method. Fifth, influence of values and biases. Sixth, regulation. Seven, complex cause-effect relationship. Well, for the next explanation will be delivered by second speaker.
Okay, thank you for the chance given to me. I am Ica Sulistianti, and here I want to continue the explanation by Bapak Musyarif. So today I want to explain the theme is research design. The first is experimental. So here the research design by experimental research. Experimental research design is a research method used to investigate cause and effect relationship by considering relevant variable and manipulating one or more independent variable. So here experimental research design is a research method, adalah sebuah metode yang digunakan untuk menginvestigate cause and effect, sebab dan akibat hubungan antara controlling the relevant variable and manipulating one or more independent variable or treatments to see their effect on dependent variable. Jadi experimental design itu digunakan untuk melihat sebab akibat variabel dan manipulating one or more independent variable. And next is about here are some of the main characteristic of experimental research design. Jadi terdapat beberapa karakteristik untuk experimental research design, which is the first is control of variables. The researcher attempts to control all variables other than the manipulate independent variable, so that the observed outcomes can be directly attributed to the treatment given. And the second is manipulation of independent variable. Next is experimental group and control group. The fourth is randomization, and the last is outcome measurement or dependent variable. Okay, and the next slide, there are three types of experimental design. The first is true experiment, second is quasi-experimental, and the last is pre-test, post-test control group design. Okay, and next slide is about quasi-experimental. So, what is the definition of quasi-experimental? Quasi-experimental research design is a form of experimental research that doesn't fully follow the principle of true experiment, especially in terms of randomization. Jadi, so in quasi-experimental research design, not fully follow the principle. Jadi tidak itu mengikuti all of the principle of true experiment. So it has a difference between quasi-experimental and true experiment. Between both, the differences is especially in terms of randomization. And the next is we will talk about characteristic of quasi-experimental design research. There are various of characteristic. The first is no full randomization, use of comparison groups, manipulation of independent variable, partial control of confusing variable, and the next is lower internal validity. And there are some of example of quasi-experimental design. The first is non-equivalent control group design. The second is time series design, and the last is pre-test post-test non-equivalent group design. And then the next slide is non-experimental. Non-experimental research design is a type of research that doesn't involve manipulation of variable by the researcher, but rather simply observing, analyzing, or describing the variable as they are in natural situation without treatment or intervention. Next is characteristic of non-experimental research. There are four characteristics. The first is no manipulation of variable. The second is no randomization or control of group. The third is examining relationship or comparison, and the last is lower internal validity. And there are 5 types of non-experimental research design. The first is descriptive research. The second is correlational research. The third is rational comparative research. The fourth is survey research, and the last is longitudinal research. Okay, and the last material is about critical approach to knowledge. Post-positive research knowledge, that knowledge gained from research is always professional and valuable. Therefore, they are more critical and skeptical of research results, especially in avoiding obsolete claims.